Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Enlightened World Network. Today, this is Divine Relationship Recovery with Deb Goldberg, and we are so excited to be here for this program. It's an amazing time spent with Deb and her beautiful inspiration and teachings that come directly to her from Source Energy, from Jesus, and from her spiritual guides that bring messages for all of us. And she's not holding those in. She's going to come on and share with us. And I'm so excited to hear what we're talking about today and the inspiration that's going to be going out. At Enlightened World Network, we present many different programs and they grow every day. Every day there's something new. So we encourage you to go to Enlightened World Network and our new channel, EWN Enlightened Living, where we present shows every day about meditation. We do a meditation every day, and we also have different shows like Diane, who comes on at 9:30 and plays in the playground and helps you with the inner child to really get into that essence of a child again and find that energy. At 9 o'clock every morning, we have Mira Rubin, who comes in and talks about the core connection. And to start the day off, I come on with Gerald Ann Heatherdale for a broadcast from the river called Coffee and Conversation. And we always lift everyone up in meditation and prayer at the end of that show. So there's always something there for anyone. You can find the program listing at the top of the page on Enlightened World Network, and it shares all of the programs on both channels. So we encourage you to participate. Take the time to really come in, because we do offer a quality lineup of shows, and the beauty of our shows, they're all live. We don't show you recorded shows. We show you all the practitioners that come in to share our ministry, and we're all live for you. So join us for all of that. And right now, we hope you're going to stay around and participate in the audience, ask any questions that you might have as we discuss this beautiful spiritual teaching. So Deb, I'm so excited to be here with you today. Thank you for doing this kind of show that's really needed in our world.
Oh, thank you, Terry. And I'm so happy to share this space with you and the conversation. And hopefully, like you said, that the people listening will also put their thoughts in the comments, because we're really interested in knowing what other people are thinking about the subject that we're talking about tonight. And of course, every show, God gives me a topic. And so today is no different. And today's topic is the beauty of you.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. And so he continued on. And so I'm going to read you a little bit at a time. And then I thought we could just discuss each different paragraph. So he starts off with, you are divinely human. What does that mean? Said, you are a divine being having a human experience. Everything about you is sacred and holy. You are purity and one with what you call source, creator, God, consciousness. You are a miracle. You have the power to create by choosing to focus your intentions. Those intentions need to be based in and created through your heart, through love. So I thought maybe we could just start there with that paragraph before I go on and read you the rest of what he had said. You know, I don't think that many of us really think about the fact that we ourselves are a miracle, that this life is a miracle, and that you're sacred and holy. And it's really interesting, because what I've been taught, because I've even been asked to use certain terminology like creator, God. I was asked not even to use the word universe in the sense of describing God, because what I was told is that it really leaves out the sacredness of it, that the word universe does not implicate sacredness or holiness or divinity. And so I stay in that realm of using the word, creator or God consciousness, divine love, so that I myself can continue to keep feeling into and remembering I'm a miracle, just like everybody else is. It's a miracle to have this life, right?
Absolutely. It really is, Deb. And I know for many of us, we don't see that miracle until something happens. When we go through some struggle or some challenge. And trust me, I have been through many in my life. Mm-hmm. And I say every day that it's a miracle. My life is a miracle. And there were times when I wasn't sure I would even still be here, but I am. And so every day when I wake up with, oh my gosh, I'm alive. I have another day. And it just puts you in that whole mindset of gratitude for the life that we're given. And you don't have to wait until you have a trauma. You don't have to wait until there's something that's really heavy going on. Every day, just get into that habit when you open your eyes, looking at the beauty of another day, what that means. And then look at your life as that. It is a miracle.
It totally is. And yes, when you go through things that are so difficult and that you're still here and that everything's okay, it does bring you closer to understanding the miracle of life, and who you are, that there's a divine process going on. Mm-hmm. And I think that, it's important for us to also understand, because in this paragraph, we're learning that we have the power to create. It's divine power to create through our imagination. That's what consciousness is pure imagination and awareness and infinite intelligence, infinite imagination. And that those intentions, as we're awake and we're ascending, that we learn that those intentions need to be based in and created through our heart, through love. Mm-hmm. That all of our creations are coming from a heart space, heart-centeredness for yourself and for everyone else, the whole world. And that's an amazing power that we've been given. And I know before I woke up, I didn't even realize that I had the power to do that. Yet, if I kind of look back, a lot of things that I desired actually came forth. Mm-hmm. I just didn't put the two together, that I was consciously on some level creating my heart's desires to happen outside of me.
Right. Yeah, sometimes we ask for things and we put out the energy of I want, but we don't realize just letting go and knowing that we already have it. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of letting go of that, having to control it. Mm-hmm. That's where the miracles are. Mm-hmm. That's what happens when we realize that we are powerful creators.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and staying right here in our heart, mm-hmm. That those desires and intentions are expansive in the way that we're thinking about things. So I know that, a lot of times before I had awakened, it was like even just getting through the next day, like my desires was like, oh my gosh, like this little thing or that little thing. And as you go along, it just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding to really sending out some powerful intentions for yourself and the world in a much different way. It's a lot more expansive, and that the power is there to do that. So the second paragraph is, your power is also in your perception, how you want to see your world and yourself in the world. Each of you come with these gifts and abilities. The issue is that you forgot who you are, and this whole journey is to rediscover and uncover the truth of you, not by the learnings of this world, but from the source of you, as you too are a creation as well. Your life is a creation, a beautiful story of you. And when you see yourself as just an individual, you miss the essence of love that you really are and the depth and breadth of what that means. So I'm like, okay, that's a lot too to take in.
It sure is.
It really is. It's a getting past the false identity within each of us that the veil of unconsciousness brings to us, from believing in duality, believing in ego consciousness, which is all part of the process of our journey here. So those things are there purposely, they're divinely orchestrated. But when you can learn from whether you call source, whatever you call divine love, which I call God, is when you can learn divine law, unconditional love, through source, it is much different than what you get from your knowledge of the earth, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like we know that we incarnated into a human body because that's an experience that our soul said, I'm going to do that. So we are here to learn certain things, but the most learning comes when we take the inner journey, much more than the outside, what we consider to be the outside of us. It's that experience that we have inside that really lifts us and brings us to that knowledge, Deb, that total knowing of who we are.
And you really don't learn that from the outside world.
No, you don't.
And it is quite a process to go in and learn from source, from divine love, who you really are, because you're undoing everything that you've learned, everything that you thought about life, everything that you thought about yourself, everything you thought about others. You learn that there's really no truth to any of it. And so you get completely spiritually reparented in being taught divine truth of who you are. This is what it means to be awakened, to be walking in the light, walking a spiritual path, becoming aware, more expansive in your consciousness. It's a beautiful process. And even as you're walking through it, it's amazing how easy it is to go back into the thinking that is not correct, the earth thinking, and forget who you are and forget the knowledge that you've taught. I mean, it's an ongoing journey through your whole life to just keep remembering and uncovering yourself, your true self, your divine nature, the love that you are in this world, and the miracle. So moving past the false self, it takes time, because that false self is always playing with you. It's just happening as part of our journey. And learning how not to identify with the false self, because that's what limits us. And it takes away really us understanding the essence of who we are. Like we're being told with purity, that we're one with God's source, that we are sacred, that we're holy. When we only look at the false self as it's like an illusion of identity, we miss out on all of those things.
Yeah, we do. We really do. We get so caught up in the chatter and seeing things as huge when they're really not. If we could just step away and say, okay, what is real and what is priority for me? Then we start to look at, that's not really important, is it? And when you think about, I'm spirit. So this human body that I'm in, this is just a little blip in the great scheme of things in eternity. It's just a minute if we look at it that way. So any of those things that irritate us, any of those things that challenge us, it's really not important. What's real is inside.
No, right here.
Yeah.
Right here is all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
So it is so beautiful what you're saying, and to really take that in and try to hold on to it. I journal, and that's the way I hold on to things. It's like, oh, I can go right back to my journal and reread what I was taught. And it helps me remember again and make it like sink it into myself, because I hear it over and over again, or I go back and I read what I wrote, and it reminds me. And I ask the angels every day actually to help me remember what I've been taught, that I don't forget. And it is a good practice to ask for that help too, because it is so easy to forget.
Mm-hmm.
In an instant, it's gone. You just get distracted, or you start taking things too seriously, and forgetting that this is supposed to be fun.
Mm-hmm. Or we get something like a world shutdown.
We get a world shutdown, or whatever happens in our lives that just kind of makes it feel really complicated and struggling.
Yeah.
And going back to remembering that we don't have to perceive it that way. We're talking about our powers also in our perception. So we have the power to create through our imagination, but our perception and how we view things is also creating, and how we're taking something in. So our perception can be pretty skewed.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I have to check in constantly. Am I seeing things through the way God wants me to see them? Am I seeing them through the eyes of God? Or am I seeing them through my false self, through ego consciousness? And studying also, I've studied A Course in Miracles, and it's helpful to look at things. Is this love, or is this a cry for love? And that's a good way kind of sometimes to discern what's going on, because if you're moving out of a feeling of peace and love, then it's a cry for love, that I'm not seeing this correctly. Help me see this differently. Help my perception view things the way that you want me to see them. So there's so much, all of our power is in our perception, our viewpoint of how we're looking at something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like putting on glasses, right? Maybe I couldn't see what was there. Maybe it was a little fuzzy, but I put on my glasses and oh my gosh, look at that. The whole world opens up. And that to me is what happens when we're looking at something with our human brain and our 3D eyes. And it's just looking so yucky. And we're like, okay, I don't really understand, or I don't really want to see what I'm seeing. And then we just go inside and use our spiritual eyes. And we're like, oh my gosh, now I see, now I get it.
Mm-hmm.
It just clears everything up when we do that. It's so beautiful how that happens.
I know, it's like magic. It's like knowing that all the things that you see outside of yourself, like there's more than meets the eye in whatever you're seeing. There's so much more to it. And, I've talked before about this being a house of mirrors. And there's mirrors of ego consciousnesses, mirrors of divine love. And hopefully as we keep ascending, we see much more of divine love, that our perception is divine love. and not so much ego consciousness. But it's there. It's there for as part of the journey. So it's not that it's wrong. It's just that as we go into ascending, you will see more. Your perception will be more with divine eyes.
Yeah, when we change the way we look at things, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it totally is. And you really need source help to do that. You need divine love to help give you an alternative than what your mind, your brain might come up with, or because your brain is coming up, your mind is coming up with patterns of your own self. And so to break out of seeing things out of that pattern of yourself, your false self, you really need divine love to be helping you with that. Now there's another paragraph. Your place here is very well thought through, and it will come to fruition as you are an integral piece in a much larger puzzle. Learning how to stay connected to your true nature, the essence of love, and walk the life path is part of your journey. Learning how to do it in joy, peace, trust, and remaining heart-centered is the quest. You are not doing this alone. You are well chaperoned always. Rediscovering the beauty of yourself becomes clearer and clearer as you unearth the true being that you are. Now, this is a practice in moving towards oneness with Source. And as you do so, you start to see that you are one with all things in the physical world. All of creation in harmony and complete perfection. So that would be seen with our divine eyes. For God consciousness cannot be separated. Energy cannot die or be separated. It's just oneness. And love never changes. So if all there is love, if we're seeing anything else, it is also coming from you still growing within yourself of seeing your own beauty as divine. The divine essence of you, the beauty of you. And so as we go along, we learn that you're integral part of what is going on in this world. You matter. You are here for a reason, that your life counts. And you're here to connect inside with yourself so that you could understand more of who you are, what your purpose is here, to be taught the love that you are, so that you can keep expanding yourself and not stay in this little box. Mm-hmm. Because it's really easy to stay in this little box and be very comfortable there. And you're going to have boxes along the way, even as you're growing, because at every point where you've done a lot of growing, then all of a sudden you get, okay, I'm comfortable with where I'm at right now. But life has a way of just pushing us out of that comfort zone again, and we move again, and we might find another box and saying, okay, this feels good here. This feels really good. But the idea is to keep growing in our consciousness. And God is in control of that, because God is expressing itself through you. Consciousness is moving through you. And so you don't have to worry about, am I working hard enough on myself? Am I changing myself enough? Because that in itself is stressful. Mm-hmm. That is stressful. And you think that you might need to change things about yourself, that you were created that way for a reason. And so when you are not hearing from God about what needs to be expanded upon, you can start picking on yourself in all kinds of ways that you think need to be changed when it does not.
Beautiful, beautiful. Deb, I want to go back to one of the sentences that was in that paragraph about us being oneness with everything.
Mhm.
We have this tendency when we go into that field of knowing that we're connected to each person energetically and on that spiritual realm. So we understand that, I think, to a point that we're all one, but it says you are one with everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I had done this before. I can't remember what spiritual teacher it was that I had listened to, and they were saying, look at, let's say, a tree. Look at a tree, and you are the tree.
Mm-hmm.
The tree is you, and you are the tree.
Mm-hmm.
The chair we're sitting in,
Mm-hmm.
everything, and everything that is on this earth has energy.
Mm-hmm.
So we are one with everything because it's all energy. It may be in a different form. That energy may have been manipulated to be more solid, like the chairs we're sitting in, but it's still energy. And so when we can get to that point, I think, of saying to that chair, I'm you, you're me, it brings on a whole new meaning to what this is all about, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It takes us really up to a very much higher level
Mm-hmm.
than just seeing, comparing and seeing how we are. And I don't look like you don't look like me, but the chair doesn't look like me, but it's still me,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I am it.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets away with all of that judgment, all of that criticism of ourselves when we can do that. I love that paragraph that you just read.
Mm-hmm.
It's very profound.
It is very profound. And to understand that you're one with everything in this physical world, because consciousness can't be separated.
Right.
Energy can't be separated. There's only one mind of God. So if you look at, sometimes it helps me to view God, divine love, as this sea of consciousness, of awareness, but it's so much more than that. It is infinite intelligence. It is infinite creativity, infinite imagination. It is everything. So when you look outside and I'm sitting here at my desk at the computer, there, like you're saying, there is nothing that is separate from you, because it's all consciousness. It's a projection of your own mind of energy. And so that's a lot to take in. And I know that, for me, it took me quite a while to really kind of take that in and understand that. So I remember actually when I was living in Florida in the Keys after we had Hurricane Irma, and there was just so many piles of debris down the middle of the street, and it was piled so high. And I would look at it and I go, that's me too. Everything I see is me. Everything I see is energy in some kind of other form, like you said. And that I'm seeing that for a reason. Maybe it can look to you as destruction, but maybe it can look like breaking down things so that the new could come through. Like you do as a fire. You're burning things away so that new can come through. And so everything that you see is a reflection of consciousness. And to understand that it can't be divided, can't be separated. You can't say, oh, I'm not that. You can't look at a person and say, that's not me.
Often do that, though, don't we, Deb?
Me too.
Somebody that we're not able to resonate with. There's somebody that pushes our buttons. There's somebody that's like, that person that you really say, I don't want to be that. So that's harder to look at them and say, that's not me. Harder to, or it's easy to say that's not me. And it's harder to realize that really is me.
Yeah, because all there is love. All there is divine consciousness. So as you go along, you just kind of, as you're expanding in your consciousness, you take more of this in, and you learn a lot of things that it just takes a while to digest, and then so you get it intellectually, and then eventually you can integrate it and really understand the essence of all of it. And as you go along, you know, the picture gets wider and wider and wider and wider. So you might think that you've got a really good grasp on a concept of seeing something, and then all of a sudden you go like, whoa, I just saw that in a whole different way, and it gave me a whole different perspective on the same concept. And really what this whole journey is this expanded concept of yourself, of knowing the absolute amazing being that you are, and the power that is inside of you. This is a physical plane for us to play on and to create. And we're having help with that, so we're co-creators.
Yeah.
And to understand the power of that, it takes responsibility. And so that's part of our growing. We are maturing we're learning and relearning and rediscovering our true divine nature, but it is a maturing process, because it's almost like we still hang on to a lot of naive or a lack of understanding from learning from Earth, learning from society who we are and what the Earth is, and the expansion process feels like it is maturing you, and you're growing out of old programming and really getting a much better idea of who you are and the world is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. We keep wanting to see what's outside of us as outside of us. It's a really hard concept to say that's not real out there. That's not something that exists, because we can touch, we can feel, right? We have experiences, we talk to each other. So it's a hard concept to realize this is all aspects of me that I'm looking at, and not something that's, that's real. It's not what I'm not separate from anybody else.
No, and we have Caroline Cross is on watching, and she made a great statement. She said, yes, everything has energy and we are one, and we can communicate with everything. And it's interesting the messages and energy that we receive when we tune in. So it's so beautiful. Yes, because not only are we one with it, but we can communicate with it. Everything is in communication. And whether you want to look at it as a tree, which you talked about earlier, we are in oneness. So you can feel into anything because it's you. And there's all these beautiful messages that come back just for you. Just for your special journey. There are gifts around in such magical ways that we don't really understand. We're one with the water. You are water. You are the land. You're the sky. You're the stars. You are the planets. You are everything because it is your mind. I think that's one way that really helped me look at myself is I'm a mind. I'm this glorious mind of God, of infinite creativity. And look what is created in its mind. But everything's talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, look at the playground I created to play in, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's been created, from what I understand, I've been told that it's been created for us to play. And so we didn't create this alone. The whole illusion has been created for us, and it is supposed to be for fun and for play, and to really just experience things that you wouldn't normally experience as spirit. Like, you don't experience having a child, or what it's like to be married, or maybe smell a flower and smell the fragrance of that. So we're getting the physical aspects of all of these things that you experience in life, including all of the other ones too, of losing people that we care about, walking on the beach for the first time, sitting in the sun and letting it just shine on your face. So we're having the ability to physically take in all the things that are created in our imagination. And it's really spectacular.
It is. And even death.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Having that experience. Many people look at that as something bad or something horrible, but it doesn't have to be. It's an experience we're having. And it's going to happen. If you're living in a human body, it's going to happen. So we can approach it, with the perspective of, oh no, I'm scared of that, or I really don't want that. Or we can say, that's going to be another experience that I'm going to have as spirit that will bring me more understanding and more growth. And I love how we can look at things in that way and really fully understand what happens in that process of it.
Yeah, all of it. Recently I had taken a little fall and fractured my shoulder. And I'm like, okay, I'm not understanding what this is all about, but it's there for a reason. And I need to just appreciate I'm okay, I'm fine. And that there's a reason for it. And connecting inside, your own self is talking to you all the time. Source is talking to you through you. And all you have to do is listen to your heart to hear all of those messages of embracing all the opportunities that we get in this lifetime. So some other things came through, and I thought this was really interesting, because we're talking about how our perception and the power of our perception and intentions, how it creates. So you are the artist. Every stroke of the paintbrush produces a creation, a vision, and it unfolds into your own individual physical experience. You are painting your version of reality based on your view and your perception. How are you painting your world? We're the artists. And God's part of that artistry. He's the master. But we are painting it through our perception.
Yeah.
And so a vision unfolds into our outer reality, in the physical reality, and we're constantly painting our version of reality. And this is why we're still ascending too, is because we just keep painting more and more beautiful pictures of ourselves and of everyone else, and really embracing this miraculous life that we've been given. So how are you painting your world? And so I think that taking that in, and that could be a homework assignment. Like, what am I doing? I can journal about this. How am I painting my world? How it's coming to be because I'm helping paint it.
Yes.
I'm drawing the picture. So this will change as you increase your levels of awareness into higher consciousness. And we do rely on God as the master artisan to do this. And so wherever you are is absolutely perfect in every moment. And we're going to keep shifting our perception, and we're going to keep painting different pictures. It's sort of like maybe how somebody uses a vision board to create something on the outside. But our perception is doing this every minute of the day. We're creating our own reality with the help of God, because you're not doing this by yourself. And in divine time, God helps you expand your consciousness, which will repeatedly change the landscape and colors of your world, always creating a new, more loving world over and over and over again in a more expansive way.
As we allow it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And interesting that you used that particular thing, Deb, because during this time that we're in, the timeout, I called to me all of this beauty that I'm surrounded by, the beautiful sunsets, the nature, the animals, everything. I was quarantined here for this whole time of this coronavirus, and it would have been totally different had I stayed where I live.
Mm-hmm.
You know, big city, lots of chaos and confusion and fear. It would have been a totally different experience. So I called that to me. Yeah, I painted it the way I wanted it to be for that experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I fully believe what you're saying and what God has dictated to you in those beautiful words, that we put that energy out there and we create.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we each have our own paintbrush. And we have somebody asking, what if you paint your world, but it's not good enough because you have an ideal that doesn't exist? That's such a great question. Thank you, Lisa. Yes, it comes from I'm not good enough. You answered your own question. But as you're going along, you keep seeing your perception shifts. It just does. And it's really not rushing yourself through it, because you have to be right where you're supposed to be. And as you go along, it will become so beautiful that because that's what's in your mind most of the time. It's just so beautiful, and there's only love, that you accept whatever you see as love. And if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense, and it's okay. You can look at things in this world and say, well, I don't really understand what I'm seeing, but I know that only love exists. And so I'm going to let go of that, and I'm going to say, blessings for whatever I saw and didn't understand it, because that's how we start judging. So if you're not good enough, so if you keep looking at, you want other people to change to be part of your world, you have to be careful with that, because you can't change other people. Well, I would say you can with love. Love changes everything. So if you hold in your heart love, really in a space, a really connected heart space, then you start accepting everything outside of you as perfection, because nothing could be out of perfection. And it just takes time to get there. Because we do that to ourselves. I can say, well, I'm not doing good enough. I'm not doing enough. And this will be the false self. This is the false self telling us that we're not good enough. And that is a lie. And we need to learn not to listen to it. That you just let it fly by. Just say, okay, I know it's there, but it's not true, so I don't have to buy into it. We are enough. You are enough.
You are enough. And Deb, that fits right in with the meditation that I did earlier today, and it'll be replayed at 9:30 tonight Eastern time, Lisa. If you can listen to that, it dealt with the limiting beliefs, like I'm not enough, I'm not worthy. And when we can tap into those limiting beliefs and change the way we say our self-talk and choose to be enough, choose to be worthy, choose to believe that, because that's one of our superpowers, is being able to make choices. And we can turn that around. At any moment, we can turn around that belief system and look at it and say, no, I choose to be worthy today. I choose to be loved and to know love, real unconditional love that comes from God. So yeah, this just all fits right in together with that.
To worthiness,
Yeah.
worthiness. So this next part is the goal for each of us is becoming internally hospitable to the diversity of thought, feelings, and behaviors of ourselves. Meaning that you're hearing ego consciousness, you're having aspects of yourself, you're getting pulled on in so many different ways of hearing different voices, different feelings, thoughts, and the different behaviors that we all do, the different coping skills that we have.
Mm-hmm.
It is becoming internally hospitable to all the diversity of yourself, that all of these things are existing at the same time. And so kindness, we do this with kindness, acceptance, compassion, and loving the totality of you. And this is what creates harmony within, and it gives way for our internal world to create an outer world where there is no starvation for love, acceptance, kindness, or compassion, for there is only the divine breath of life. And oh my goodness, what that in itself, that paragraph is so amazing, to think that this is what our journey is, to just love the complete package. The package is perfect, even with the ego voice. It's all perfect, and it's with this tugging on you and that tugging on you, and you're feeling angry and you're feeling love and you're feeling sad and you're feeling positive and you're feeling negative. And whatever you do, think, or act, it is being gracious to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and saying, wow, this is my full self. This is the full me that I came here to embrace in this journey. And it is created, that I have been created, you have been created perfectly to learn how to have enough love for yourself that you become a hospitable environment for all this diversity. And when you do that, you are in complete harmony within yourself, and with your higher self in the lead, with your higher self saying, okay, I see, I'm witnessing all this stuff going on in me. I see myself doing this. I see myself doing that. How do I proceed with love here?
Mm-hmm.
And what really came strong to me yesterday is there's more room for love. There is always more room for love, to keep bringing it to yourself. You have a question? Well, Lisa's saying, I think my higher self knows, but my human self still has doubts. I will check it out later. So Lisa, your higher self, you know all of this, but the human self, that's that false self. And you will have doubt. And it's being loving with the doubt, and knowing that the more that you trust, because I would never say that I never have doubt. I do still have doubt, but I go back to remembering I need to just trust. I need to trust God. I need to trust myself, and know that I just need to keep moving forward on that path of trust, knowing that everything's in divine order. I am guided. You are guided. And that it's okay to have the doubt. It's loving it. and accepting it and not getting frustrated with it. And this has been one of my big lessons that I keep getting over and over and over again, because I'm just like, well, okay, aren't we done with that part yet? And it's sort of
that lesson, right?
yeah, no, it just means you need to have, there's more room for more love, and that you just keep loving that part of you that wants to doubt, and keep going closer and closer inside yourself in this relationship with God. So every time I do doubt, I start asking questions. I'm like, okay, God, what's going on? I need some help here. I need clarity and understanding what's going on.
Absolutely. I always ask, what's this all about? So if something's going on and I sit down with the angels and I'm like, okay, what's this all about?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a why question, because personally, I don't like why questions. When you ask, what's it all about, that opens it up and really brings in that energy of looking at it and examining it just to see what that answer is. And it's always love, Deb. It always comes back to love.
Always. And so we can't look at doubt as something wrong, because God puts doubt there because it helps you discern. So having doubt does not mean that it's coming from a false self. It means that it's there for a reason. Everything is there for a reason. So, I could look at myself and say, I can be really rebellious at times. And I thought that wasn't a good trait to have, that it's not a good aspect, but God created that rebellion in me. And that rebellion is there for a reason, because sometimes I need to use it. And every aspect of yourself is perfect. And you don't understand that until you really are getting taught by Source to know that every single aspect of yourself is divinely perfect. And it is there for a purpose. It is there for your journey to help you. So there is nothing wrong with your doubt. There's nothing wrong with rebellion. There's nothing wrong with being sensitive. There's nothing wrong with any part of you. This is the quest. Undoing all the things that I think is wrong with me. And you are not broken. You are perfect.
I'm not sure if you're seeing Jean Lorio in your comments.
I don't think so.
I think she's on YouTube.
Oh my, okay.
Jean says, why does it seem so difficult to work on the relationship with yourself? It seems so much easier with someone else.
I agree. I agree. And there's part of ego consciousness, the false self keeps us from wanting to go inside. I mean, this whole awakening process is about learning about yourself. But if you want to look at ego or the false self, it only feels like it gets validation from the outside world. So it doesn't believe that going inside, that you could connect to Source, is going to give you anything like what the outside world can give you. It gives you the validation, and that's where you think, that's where the false self thinks love comes from. And there's no truth to that at all. And so you have this very thing inside of you purposely to make you want to keep going in and digging in and unearthing all the gifts inside of yourself. So yes, it is harder to go inside, and it takes a lot of courage to go inside, because you actually stand up and look at your full self. But when you're doing it with your spiritual guides, you understand what parts of you, what is the real you, and what are the manufactured false self that is around you that you are believing. So it's yes, it is difficult to keep going in inside yourself because there are energies that are stopping you from doing that. And it's all purposeful. It makes you want to try even harder and dig more. And it's about, my first book is Are You Ready to Listen? God, asking that question. And it is mastering your internal world. And all of us have come here learning to master the outside world. And when you awaken, you learn you have to master the inside world, because here we are talking about all your power is inside of you through your imagination, through intention, through your perception. And unless you go inside, you don't know how to manage and control your internal world. Mm-hmm. And so you have to stop looking outside, and it just takes time. And there's no wrong or right time or how long it takes. It is all divine timing.
Absolutely. Great question, Jean. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yes. Yes. It's a great question. To really realize that there's not anything wrong with any aspect of yourself is really freeing. Mm-hmm. That it's all about letting yourself just be you, and learning how to do that and feel good about it, regardless of what you're doing. And if you feel, if something needs to be corrected, it just gets corrected. You just start to, your higher self will let you know. God lets you know that, okay, we're going to do things. You just start going, I don't feel good about what I just said or did. Or maybe I want to just shift that a little bit next time. And not worry about every little thing that you're doing. It takes all the pressure off, because we've all been in hiding. We've all been only wanting to show what we think is our best self. And for some others, it's been, I'm going to show you my tough self because I'm trying to keep love at bay. Mm-hmm. And so, but we need to show up as our full self. And whatever that is like Lisa's saying that she knows she's sensitive. I'm sensitive too, and it's okay. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not wrong. It's actually beautiful. Most of us are sensitive. We all have beautiful hearts. We can't not have a beautiful heart. It's just covered over, frozen. There's a steel door on top of it. And as you keep going inside, everything just starts to fall apart and dissipate.
Beautiful words, Deb.
Thank you.
What a beautiful show today.
It is. God always comes up with something so amazing. And it's funny, Jesus dictated a chapter on beauty. And I thought I'd read it, but we're out of time, so I'll save it for another day. But it is also very powerful, because he asks, who are you going to believe? Are you going to believe me, or are you going to believe the mirror? And it's just such a beautiful question. Mm-hmm. Do I believe the mirror, the outside world? Or am I going to listen what Source Love is telling me? Such a quest.
It is a quest. And I'm just being reminded of Moses. And aren't we beautiful?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was an amazing thing that he said. And it really is the essence of everything. Aren't we beautiful? The whole world. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we are gonna wrap this up, and I'm so happy. Please share the show and with your friends on your Facebook. And we're here every Wednesday at 5. And you can listen to Terry's meditation today on clearing some of the root chakra issues at 10 o'clock tonight. It'll be replayed on Enlightened World Network, Facebook. And Terry, why don't you share with people that you have coming up some master classes starting Sunday?
Yes, thank you, Deb. This Sunday, we are talking about the chakras, and it's all about the chakras, things that maybe you didn't realize the chakras affect inside of you or your physical body. So that's going to happen Sunday at 1 o'clock, all about chakras. And then there'll be 3 after that, dealing with your angels and spirit guides, your clairaudience, clairvoyance, all of those spiritual gifts will be one class. And then we're going to talk about the Akashic Records and what that is and how you can access it. So I'm excited to be bringing these classes. They are free classes. You can join up, register at Enlightened World Network. There's an event for the one coming up Sunday. You can go there and register for it. And please do. I'd love to see you there.
Yes, and you can make donations for Terry's beautiful time and wisdom that she's bringing to you. So I hope we see you there on Sunday. We have lots more coming up, and through the week, please look at our show guides on Enlightened World Network and Enlightened Living on Facebook to see all the amazing shows that we have going on. So we say goodbye for now, knowing we are one love, protected and held in divine order by our Creator. Go out this day in this awareness and allow God's peace and joy to occupy every thought. Lead with your heart and welcome everyone home, for all are loved. God bless you and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.